mid lane.
Thank you very much, Trevor. Indeed, standing by with Crown, who had an absolutely fantastic series. The first thing I want to ask you about is the aggression of H2K in the early game throughout that series. Every single time you guys had an answer for it and you could turn it around. How did you do that consistently throughout the series?
이제 H2K 팀이 이제 매 경기마다 초반에 적극적으로 공세를 펼치면서 이제 삼성팀을 압박했는데 또 그때마다 매번 이제 침착하게 맞받아치면서 경기를 이제 승리로 이끄셨습니다. 어떻게 그렇게 매 경기마다 초반 난관을 극복하셨는지 말씀해 주세요.
네, 그 H2K 팀이 초반에 엄청 매섭게 잘 플레이를 하는 거를 경기에서 계속 봤어요. 그래서 저희도 준비하면서 초반만 조심하자 이렇게 생각하면서 이제 초반에 좀 조심하면서 했는데도 엄청 매섭게 해서 네, 좀 실수가 많았는데 그래도 이제 그때마다 저희가 중요한 거를 좀 계속 생각하면서 서로 콜을 해서 계속 중요한 거는 지키면서 플레이를 했기 때문에 역전이 가능했던 것 같아요.
So while preparing for this match, we saw that H2K put a lot of emphasis in the early game and their aggression in the early game. So we just kept telling ourselves that we have to be careful in the early game and not make those mistakes. Yet we did had some difficult time because of H2K's aggressions, but we just kept on talking how we should not give up the important objects like towers and like dragons, and through that I think we were able to turn around the game.
And you guys closed it out 3-0. You are now on a 10-game winning streak and into the final. No other team at this tournament can say that. How have you been able to dominate every single one of your opponents in that 10-game winning streak?
지금 삼성팀은 이번 대회에서 유일하게 10연승을 지금 하고 있는 팀인데요. 그 10연승을 올릴 수 있었던 비결이 무엇이 있을까요?
비결은 그냥 일단 다들 열심히 했고 그다음 하늘에서 도와주신 것 같아요. 운이 좀 많이 따랐던 것 같아요. 네.
So I think with a bit of luck and everybody's hard effort, we were able to do that 10-game win streak.
Well, a bit of luck, maybe still no Korean team met, but now you're going up against the defending world champions, SKT, at Staples Center. What are your hopes and goals for that matchup, as it will be a tough nut to crack?
이제 드디어 마지막 끝판왕인 SKT, 이제 전 시즌 우승팀인 SKT와 이제 LA 스테이플 센터에서 붙게 되었는데요. SKT와의 대전에서 어떠한 기대치를 이제 가지고 계신가요?
결승을 가는 게 지금 좀 가는 게 맞는지 싶어요. 지금 기분이. 근데 어제 경기를 보고 새로운 목표가 생겼는데 SK를 이기려면 미드를 이겨야 되는 것 같아요. 그래서 이기고 싶어졌어요. 그래서 열심히 할 거고 네, 지켜봐 주세요. 감사합니다.
I still can't even believe that we're going to the finals, but watching SKT's match yesterday, I had a new goal. I realized that in order to beat SKT, we have to win in the mid lane. So my new goal is to beat Faker, and I would really like to accomplish that. So keep cheering for us, and thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much. We will see if that happens. Crown and Samsung Galaxy off to Staples Center to the final of the World Championship.
There we have it, Samsung Galaxy, a 10-game winning streak, moving on to LA Staples Center to face off against the reigning world champions in SK Telecom.
New goal to beat Faker. Very dangerous things to say before playing Faker. Faker in the press conference afterwards said he was annoyed the crowd was cheering for Peanut. Like, this guy definitely wants to be known as the best player.
He said in the interview that he himself felt like he has risen back to the level of undisputed best player in the world. So there you have it. I mean, if Crown wants to take him down, he himself has to put up a world's best performance.
But I like it. That's a gauntlet you throw, right? They're not going to go into this final and be like, we can't do it, of course. And as the best player on that team, in my opinion, that is what Crown is. You have to be able to take it to Faker in that mid lane. So, you know, for a young kid, a little bit of brashness, a little bit of cockiness is definitely justified when you carried your team this far into the world.
Absolutely. They looked stellar this entire tournament and deserve to move on with confidence. Now, before we do kind of preview all those matchups, I want to take a step back and look at this three-game domination by Samsung Galaxy, and in particular this game, again, probably accelerating even more over the first two in a win.
And when do we start drawing the comparisons? Because for a second time in a couple of years, the Samsung team is going with one loss into a finals, and their mid-game is where they get it done.
Who did they lose to in both years?
I think they lost to TSM or someone like that. I can't remember exactly. But this team controls vision in a very similar way, is able to set up their teleports and their team fights. And then when they go to 1-3-1, they look just as good. I mean, they play multiple styles, and we saw it in this best of five, They're able to get it done very
Felt
well.
like a best of 3. That's how quick it was. So I hear you there. All right, but Crepo, talk to me about, once again, this early game here, because it was put together very smartly by Samsung Galaxy.
Yeah, the reason I let them talk so much is because we highlighted a phase here brought to you by Acer. I'm just going to steal that for one more time here because I want to see that replay right now. Because that is, look at his ward. So Crown places that, and the context of this ward is that Olaf, instead of doing a 2-cam clear, now had a 3-cam clear on the left side, goes to his Raptors. He's going for his optimal gank or optimal clear path here, heading to the red buff. The problem in the Olaf Elise matchup is that you're prone to invades.
Yeah, that ward would not have been placed unless Ambition was doing that pass. So that's already showing communication between the mid lane and the jungler. And here, Jankos walks over the ward. So instead of just finishing the red buff, Ambition's actually able to pull it back, get the recharge on his axe, get the hits in, and then barely get it into smite range before Jankos makes it there.
Yeah, and he would never know how close Jankos is there, so that ward allows an extra camp to be taken. Ambition then went mid into a pressure gank, then ran top. This is a mistake by Odoame. What is he supposed to do when Cuba plays the lane so well? He ganks top, he swings the one super winning matchup in the late game, Trundle versus Poppy, gets QV the advantage, and this is how I like that Samsung plays together. It all ties together, from ward to super clear, gank path, top lane, the matchup gets switched on its head, and suddenly Samsung is in complete control for us.
And I just love that he doesn't waste time trying to contest Jankos in his own jungle, right? He's like, no, this team is so efficient in the way that they act and move around the map.
And everything has to go right there. You get double summoner spells, you get the deep ward. That means you can track the Elise. You get the shove in the top lane with the Poppy, which you don't normally get unless you really want it because you get out-traded. So I really do think that this is one of those players that highlights that 4 players are on the exact same page. And that's impressive. As I said, like, you have to start drawing comparisons because this young squad is like looking real formidable.
Player of the game here, we got to recognize, is going to Ambition. I mean, that's part of why, just the presence of mind. And then if we look back to that #1 game, Spawn, you talked about it, him being the eldest member of the team, kind of that veteran there, definitely keeping them in it.
Yeah, they talk about it so much. You know, the heart and soul of the team, the person that leads the communication. And when you're falling behind in early games and getting killed, you need that guy to keep your team positive. And Ambition, time and time again, is credited for that for Samsung.
Yeah, so good at working with the team. I think if I was the one choosing this, I may have given it to Crown because of the mid lane play, but I absolutely understand the choice because of the pathing and because of who is making the plays. So many good uses of Fog of War, and also in that game 1 when they were against the ropes, he came up with the big plays on Nidalee.
And also because we said to beat this H2K lineup, you have to slow down Jankos, you have to be able to stop that top jungle synergy, and they were able to do that in multiple occasions.
I mean, talking about stellar players, you already mentioned Crown, but we got to look at Kuve as well. In game 1, he got ganked plenty. In game 2, he got ganked plenty, but he continually won those matchups and was able to turn them around.
Yeah, definitely. They're just revealing sturdy player after sturdy player after sturdy player that can then hopefully go head-to-head with SKT. It's going to be a tall amount of the climb for them. But Crown, I'm excited to see what he could do. Challenge Faker a little bit. He just gets more out of these certain champions than he's supposed to. Like, Victor's not supposed to go even or ahead in some of these matchups, but Crown somehow makes it possible by getting really good early trades.
Yeah, he's an absolute machine, but we keep talking about, you know, this next opponent. It's better than anyone they face, but at the end of the day, they're able to take down KT. They run through groups the way they did against pretty good opponents as well. They get into this stage. I mean, they knocked out TSM, and they had to go head-to-head with RNG. It's not like they're playing bad teams. Have they played someone like SKT yet? No, no way. No one in the world is like that team. But, you know, they still have overcome very classy opponents to make it this far.
And as we acknowledge Samsung Galaxy moving on to the finals, we have to bid farewell to H2K, the only Western team to make it as far as the semifinals. And although they got 3-0 tonight, Deficia was saying that they should be proud of their accomplishments here at the World Championship.
Honestly, they matched on a lot of European teams in terms of legacy, because for me, Season 1 doesn't really count. Then Season 2 was kind of underdeveloped as well. We had like CLG EU, Moscow 5 there. Then there was Fnatic. Then there was nothing. Then there was Fnatic and Origin again, all up to the semifinals. H2K now can get added to that list. They matched the best European results at Worlds historically, and they can be proud about that.
And Jankos was insane in a lot of these games. He had spectacular mechanics, spectacular pathing. Every player also had their individual time to shine for H2K. There was a game that every individual member of that team were able to carry. They couldn't put it together against Samsung. This was a really bad day for H2K, I think, on top of also playing against their best opponent yet. And semifinals, that's how far they made it.
And unfortunately, due to recency bias, you remember the close games. But that day that they put up in group stage, where they're able to run through the whole the entirety of their group, and then do it to EDG again, people are going to look back at that play out of Ryu and be like, this guy is legit. Didn't play well today, but had some of the best League of Legends in that group stage day. It was like phenomenal.
I really hope this H2K lineup can carry on their strengths into the next season in Europe, because they definitely have it in them to be a contender for especially if you look at how the teams around them have kind of capitulated overall. Fnatic without a roster right now, Origin completely collapsed here. H2K could be a front runner for the title in Europe if they can play to their strengths like they did here.
Absolutely. Well, now it's time to take a look at the updated bracket. SKT and Samsung Galaxy have emerged victorious in the semifinals and will move on to the Staples Center in Los Angeles to battle for the World Championship. Now, even if you're staying at home for finals, we're celebrating the last round of Worlds over 2 days, and you're invited to join in on the festivities. Tune in Friday at 6 p.m. Pacific time for an awesome event streamed live on watch.lolesports.com. We'll kick things off with a special live edition of Primetime League, followed by an all-mid, all-star deathmatch. We'll have a cosplay showcase hosted by the All-Chat crew, Riot musicians and composers backed by members of the Hollywood Chamber Orchestra. Will cap off the night with the music of League of Legends live. Lastly, the countdown to finals begins with a marathon of the best games in World's history, leading right up until our pregame coverage of the final fight on Saturday at 2:30 Pacific.
Are we replaying the SKT Rocks Best of 5? Is that the
Twice.
Yeah, right? We just kind of boom. Just play that whole series, and then we can start making our way into the history books. All right, but before we turn out the lights here at the Garden, let's go ahead and look at some of your semifinal World's Big Plays brought to you by XXX Return of Xander Cage. At Ravensword Wing sums up one of yesterday's show-stopping moments. That arrow, best Ashe arrow in League history. Let's take a look.
Oh, baby.
And they even got the pick off on Bang.
Rocks doesn't actually have to stop pushing right now. They can delay the recalls. The arrow! Arrows. Look at the arrow! Get teleport!
He's gonna stop it out! He's stopped, dude! But they can push! But they get it! Here comes the Nexus! They're trying to burn it down! Is this not gonna be enough? It's not! Rocks Tigers answer back with game 2! Here's the hawk shot first, he scouts, and then he shoots the arrow. Now, originally, Echo was recalling, canceled it and wanted to get there quicker, changed to teleport, and it just barely gets there in time.
Yeah, the teleport nerfs that happened this year, adding the extra second to the channel time, pretty impactful
It's in
right
the
there.
script.
Yeah, I mean, he saw the start of the recall / teleport, so the aim was easy, but as far as game impact, one of the greatest Ashe arrows we've ever seen.
Yeah, and you know, people are talking about Peanut's performance yesterday, and it's justified because he played very well, but Prey to me stepped up, elevated himself, has fallen short of getting another World. This is a guy that's been there multiple times, but boy, is he a fantastic
And we saw it. It made Crepo's knees weak there. Boom, dropped a couple inches. All right, well, at Jay Lundgren Sports has an important question and an answer. How do you beat a team with 3 Infernal Drakes? Well, you beat Faker. Here's your World's Big Play.
Trying to keep out, Repel gets away from this time, he goes in for it, and it's secured by Bangy. That is a big deal. SKT, Shockwave, a shutdown. They've got 3 already. They're looking to kill absolutely everybody. Rocks Tigers getting wiped off the face of the map. Speth, the only one alive. And this is why I put so much emphasis on clutch players. Faker and Bang. The SKT have shown on the biggest stage, they are reliable and they can come up with these plays.
Yeah, climactic moment in that series, but I also have another answer of how you beat 3 Infernal Drakes.
Okay.
10,000 gold leads.
Oh,
That
that's
definitely helps.
that's pretty good. That's pretty good. But that is one of those moments that we talked about where that entire series kind of hinged on just singular plays, right? Because again, with those 3 Infernal Drakes, Rox is able to extend it maybe a little bit more, and that game could have gone the other direction and started off the whole series on a different note.
Yeah, and Rock should have probably not gotten a single one of those Infernal Drakes. Every single one was kind of procured by some creative plays that they made, and they really just were playing so tight, and then it just all fell apart in the end.
So close, so close. As you mentioned, maybe we'll see that entire series come next week as we recap Worlds. Now, remember, you can always share your highlight reel moments by tweeting with the Worlds, or rather with the hashtag Worlds Big Plays. Now, stick around for another edition of Worlds tonight with Riv, Deficio, and Papa Smithy. That's going to do it for us here in the Big Apple. Now, for myself and everyone here in New York City, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you in LA.